Welcome back, all of you, to the online class of biology once again. So we were studying about the flower, isn't it? So today we are going to study the parts of a flower in detail. Okay. So each flower is having four different whorls. Okay, that whorls are calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. Okay, I have already explained. Calyx is what the outermost whorl. Okay, and the members of this, the units of calyx is called sepals. Okay, they are known as what? Sepals. And sepals are green. Okay, in a hibiscus flower, if you see, you can see at the bottom a green cup like structure. Okay, so that is calyx, and the units of each of that is known as what? Sepals. Okay, and the function of this calyx is to protect the flower in the bud stage. When the flower is in the bud stage, the calyx protects the flower. Okay, the calyx can be gamosepalous. Gamosepalous means if the sepals are united, or it can be polysepalous. Polysepalous means if the sepals are free. Okay, if the sepals are free, then it is known as polysepalous, and if the sepals are united, then it is known as gamosepalous. Is it clear? Gamosepalous and polysepalous. Okay. Then next part is what? Corolla. Corolla is what? The colored part. Okay, the colored part of the flower is known as corolla, and the units of them are known as what? Petals. Okay, petals are colored part I told. And what is the function of this? This attracts the insects for pollination. Okay, and this petals also can be what? Fused, or then it is known as what? Gamopetalous. Okay, gamopetalous. And if they are united, if they are free, then they are known as polypetalous. Okay, is it clear? If the petals are united, then it is known as what? Gamopetalous. And if they are free, then it is known as polypetalous. Okay, be careful here. That is, if the petals are free, then it is known as what? Polypetalous. Okay, it is like this. And if the petals are united, then we call it as what? Gamosepalous. Okay, polypetalous means free. Understood? Then what is the function of this corolla? They attract the insects. Okay, corolla attracts the insects for pollination, and corolla's shape also may vary. Okay, it can be tubular, it can be bell shaped, funnel shaped, wheel shaped, like this. Different shapes you can see for the corolla. Okay, so now we are going to study about aestivation. Okay, aestivation. So what do you mean by aestivation? The mode of arrangement of sepals or petals in floral buds with respect to the other member is called what? Means in a bud. Okay, in which way all these petals or sepals are arranged. Okay, that arrangement is known as what? Aestivation. And there are different types of aestivation: valvate. Okay, valvate, twisted, imbricate, and vexillary. So all these are what? Different kinds of aestivation. What do you mean by aestivation? That is the arrangement. See, like this, whether the sepals are not touching each other, they are just placed near to each other, or they are overlapping. Okay, you can see one side is outside and one side is inside. So these two members of this petals or sepals, how they are arranged in a bud, that is known as what? Aestivation. Okay, and there are different types of aestivation I told. What are they? They are valvate, twisted, imbricate, and vexillary. Okay, so let's see one by one. So when the sepals or petals in a whorl just touch one another, at the margin, okay, without any overlapping. You can see here they are what, just attached, or they are not attached, they are placed very near to each other, or they are just touching each other. There is no overlapping, okay, between the members of the calyx or corolla. Okay, can you see here, these two are just placed near to each other, or they are just touching each other. Okay, you can see here in this plan, you can see, okay, they are not touching, they are not overlapping each other, isn't it? They are just placed near to each other. Then that kind of estivation is known as what? Valvate estivation. Okay, so valvate estivation means what? When sepals or petals in a whorl just touch one another at the margin and there is no overlapping. Okay, example is what? Calotropis. Okay, then it is known as what? Valvate. Okay, the next one is what? Twisted means one margin of one sepal or petal appendage overlap that of the next one. Okay, so if you see a China rose flower or a hibiscus flower or lady's finger, okay, you can see that if you take one petal, okay, one petal if you are taking, its one side will be inside and the other side will be outside. Okay, so it is overlapping what, in such a way that, okay, one end of the one appendage, that is sepal or petal, overlap to the next one. Okay, so you always, you can see in, okay, then out, out, in, out, like this. Okay, so this is known as what? One side of the petal will be outside and the other side will be inside. So this kind of what arrangement or estivation is known as what? The twisted estivation. You can see here, okay, in this plan you can see, okay, see in this plan, inside outside, inside outside, okay, inside outside, like this if they are arranged, then it is known as what? Twisted estivation. In plants like cassia, okay, or gulmohar, estivation is such a way that the petals or sepals overlap one another but not in any particular direction. Okay, so you can see here, one petal is completely inside. Okay, one petal, both the ends of this end and this end of this petal is completely inside, and you can see that then in, out and in, okay, then completely outside, then in and out. Okay, in and out, in this way means there is no particular direction. Okay, overlapping is there but not in particular direction. And you can see in this, one petal is completely inside and one petal is completely outside, the others are petal or sepal. Okay, others are one side out and one side in. This kind of estivation is known as what? Imbricate estivation. Okay, what is it? Imbricate estivation. So in pea plants, okay, you can see that there are 5 petals. The largest petal is known as the standard petal. Okay, then you can see 2 wing petals and 2 board shaped petals, okay, known as keel petals. Okay, and you can see that the largest petal overlaps the 2 lateral petals like this. Okay, you can see here in this way it will be a standard petal will be there, that will be overlapping the 2. Okay, this are what? Wing petals. Okay, this is one big petal known as what? Standard petal, and there will be 2 wing petals. Okay, and there will be 2 board shaped what petals known as what? The keel petals. Okay, so you can see that the standard petal overlap the 2 lateral petals, and this in turn overlap the 2 smallest anterior petals known as keel petals. This kind of estivation is known as vexillary or papillonaceous estivation. Okay, so you can see here, this is one flower of pea, and here you can see, okay, this is the standard petal, the big one. and you can see a wing petal. This is wing petal and this is another wing petal, and here you can see a keel petal. A not, it is two keel petals. They are joined to form a boat like structure. Okay, so this kind of estivation. Okay, standard petal will be there, then wing petals, and then the keel petals. That kind of arrangement is known as what? Vexillary estivation, and that is the characteristic feature of a family known as Papilionaceae of what, our pea family. Okay, then gram family. So I hope you understood all this. That is, there are different. Estivation means what? Estivation is the arrangement of, relative arrangement of petals and sepals, okay, with respect to the other member in a bud. Okay, and there are four different types of estivation mainly. What are they? Valvate, twisted, imbricate, and vexillary. Okay, so hope you understood this. Next topic is androecium. Okay, so androecium is the male part of the flower, male whorl of the flower, and it is composed of units called stamens. Okay, and if you see a stamen, it will have a stalk called a filament. Okay, then an anther. Okay, and anther usually will have two lobes, and each lobes will have two chambers. Okay, and in the chambers only, what you can see, pollen sacs which contains the pollen grains. Okay, so the units of androecium is called what? Stamens. Okay, and each stamen, if you take the stalk of the stamen, is called what? The filament and anther. Okay, anther and filament, these are the main two structures of stamens. And the anther, usually, most of the plants, the anthers are bilobed, means two lobes are there, and in each lobe there will be two chambers containing pollen sacs, and this pollen sacs contain what? Pollen grains, or pollen grains are produced inside the pollen sac. And a sterile stamen, sterile means what? Which will not produce any pollen grains, they are known as staminoid. Okay, staminoid. Then, okay, what it is? That is, see, if the stamens are sterile means they will not produce any pollen grains. Okay, then we call it as what? Staminoids. And you can see that sometimes the stamens will be attached to the parts of the flower like petals. Okay, so if they are attached to the petals, okay, they will be emerging from the thalamus, but as they come out, they will be attached to the what? The petals. If they are attached to the petals, then we call it as what? Epipetalous. What it is? Epipetalous. Okay, and if they are attached to the perianth, perianth is what? In monocot flowers, I told, the petals and sepals are not distinguishable, isn't it? The colored parts only will be there. There is no separate sepals and petals. Okay, so that structures are known as perianth. And if the stamens are attached to the perianth, then it is known as what? Epiphyllous. Okay, what is it? Epiphyllous. Then, if the stamens are free, okay, they are each stamen with a filament and anther, they are free, then we call it as what? Polyandrous. What it is? Polyandrous. And if they are united, okay, then it is known as monadalphous. Okay, so or what it can be, what? United to form a single group, then it is known as monadalphous. Okay, so if they are united, we call it as adelphous. Okay, so monadalphous means if they join to form a single unit. For example, in hibiscus, okay, have you seen? You can see in the center one tube like structure is there, and around that you can see many anthers with in yellow color. Okay, so this inside this, these are what? Anthers, and inside that only pollen grains are produced, and all these anthers unite to form a tube like structure. Okay, so a single tube like structure is formed, so only it is known as monadalphous. Okay, but in pea plants, you can see two units, or they form two groups. Actually total 10 stamens are there in pea plants, and out of that 9 of them they unite to form a single structure and one will be free. So anyway they are arranged in two groups. That condition is known as diadelphous. Okay, then if they are forming more than two bundles, example is what? Citrus, in citrus plants, lemon plants. Okay, then it is known as what? Polyadelphous. Okay, polyadelphous. So depends upon what we studied, this depends upon the number of groups formed by the stamens. If they are free, then it is polyandrous. Okay, and if they are forming a single group, it is monadelphous. If they form two groups, then it is diadelphous. And if they form more than two groups, okay, two bundles, then it is polyadelphous. Okay, then the length of the stamens also may vary. Okay, some may be taller and the other will be shorter. In most of the flowers, the stamens are having same height. Okay, but in some plants you can see that there are difference in the length of the stamens. Okay, so example is salvia and mustard. Okay, variation in the length of the filaments. So is it clear? Okay, so next topic is what? Gynoecium. Okay, gynoecium. Gynoecium is what? The female part of the flower, and it is made up of what? Units called carpels. What are carpels? Carpels are the units of gynoecium, and if you see, each carpel will have three parts. Okay, how many parts? Three parts. What are they? Ovary, style, and stigma. Okay, ovary, style, and stigma. This much forms the carpel. Ovary is the lower basal part, in which what? You can see the ovules are forming, isn't it? And the style is the structure that connects the ovary to the stigma. Okay, and stigma is usually found at the tip of the style. And what is the function of the stigma? Stigma what attracts or receives the pollen grains. Okay, and each ovary, when you see the ovary bears or ovary is having many ovules, sometimes one or sometimes many ovules attached to it. Okay, then attached to it through placenta. Understood? So when more than one carpel is there, if there are more than one carpel and if they are free, okay, example is what? In lotus and rose. Okay, that are known as apocarpus. So what do you mean by apocarpus? If the carpels are free, okay, if the carpels are free, then we call it as what? Apocarpus. And if the carpels are united, then we call it as syncarpus. Example is what? Mustard, tomato, isn't it? So like this. So after the the maturation, after fertilization, the ovules are developing into seeds and the ovary matures into fruit. So in a lady's finger, actually lady's finger, even though we say commonly as the vegetable, it is actually the fruit of the plant what we use as the vegetable, isn't it? And if you cut, you can see that many seeds are attached to it. So these seeds are actually what? The ovules which was present in the flower. Okay, ovules which was present in the ovary of the flower. Understood? So this ovules, you can see they are attached to a white structure that is known as the placenta. Is it clear? And if the so in a flower there may be more than one carpel, and if the carpels are free, then we call it as what? Syncarpus, sorry, apocarpus. And if the carpels are united, then we call it as the syncarpus ovary. Is it clear? Now we are going to study about the placentation. What do you mean by placentation? The arrangement of ovules within the ovary. How the ovules are arranged in the ovary. That is known as what? Placentation. Okay. So the placentation are of different types. One by one we will study. That is marginal, axial. Okay. Then what? Parietal, basal. then central and free central. Like this, different types of placentation is there in the flowers. Okay, what are they? They are what? Marginal. Okay, then what? They are axile, parietal, basal, and central and free central. Okay, you can see in marginal placentation, the placenta will be seen towards the ventral suture like this, and you can see the ovules are attached to this placenta, okay, in a line, as you are seeing in where in the peas, okay, the what mutton plant, you can see this, okay. Then next is what? Axile placentation. You can see in the axile placentation, okay, the ovary will be chambered, many chambers will be there, and you can see the ovules are attached to the central placenta. Okay, the placenta will be like this in this part, okay, in the center, and you can see the ovules are attached to this placenta. Okay, so this you can see where in plants like tomato, lemon, rose, china rose, etc. Okay, so that is known as what? Axile placentation. Okay, then in parietal placentation, okay, in parietal placentation, as you see here, you can see the ovules, okay, will be seen attached from the peripheral side of the ovary, and the ovary will be single chambered. Okay, and later on, sometimes by fold septation, they may get divided into one or two. Okay, so this kind of placentation where the ovules are seen attached or to the peripheral side of the ovary is called what? Parietal placentation. Okay, so in free central, where you can see the ovules will be attached to the center, okay, but the ovary is not chambered, no septa will be there, and from the center only you can see the placenta, and the ovules are attached to the center. Understood? So this is known as what? Free central. Example where you can see in the dianthus and primrose. Okay, dianthus and primrose. In basal placentation, if you see, a single ovule only will be there, and this ovule will be attached to the base of the ovary. Okay, so this is the ovary, and you can see they are attached to the base of the ovary. Okay, so this kind of placentation is known as basal placentation. Okay, so once again we'll see, this is what? This is marginal placentation. Okay, marginal placentation means what happens? Here the ovules are attached to the side, one side, ventral side of the ovary. Okay, then next is what? The axile placentation. Here you can see the ovary will be chambered, and you can see as the placenta is seen in the center, and the ovules are attached to the central placenta. Okay, then next is what? Parietal. Parietal means here what happened? The ovules are formed from the peripheral side of the ovary. Okay, and the ovary will be will not be chambered. Okay, then free central means a single chamber will be there without any septa or compartmentalization, and you can see the ovules are attached to the central placenta. Understood? Then basal means what? Only one ovule will be there in this kind, and the ovary carries this or the ovule is attached to the ovary from its base. Okay, from the base of the what? Ovary it will be attached. So hope this much is clear to you all. Will continue in the next class.